clay should be enough to stick it. So you roll it around, want a nice round bottom, and aim for the center. I think this is why it's called throwing. And sometimes you'll get it, sometimes you won't. But you want to try to, before you actually start getting it wet and throwing, you want to kind of bang it into the center. Or if you totally miss, you can push it a bit. You want it stuck, and you want it this kind of gumdrop shape. Get it as close as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect yet. And then that bottom edge, to make sure it doesn't come flying off, you just kind of run your finger along there and seal that edge. Move the water over here so you can seal it better. Okay. Oh, by the way, you'll see there are holes in the wheel head. Do you want to get those pins from up there? When you move on and want to do large plates or bigger pieces, sometimes you can't take it off the wheel head. So we've got these things called bats that have holes in them. And what you do is you put these pins in the holes, and then the pins go into the back of the bat. And then when you're done with the pot, you just take the bat off. Be careful about these. Sometimes advanced students will leave this in the wheel head, and if you forget to take them out, you can really bang up your hands. So make sure there are no pins in it when you start. Thank you, Carmen. Okay, start by wetting the clay. And you want to wet it all the way around. Just wetting your hands is nice to wash them, but it doesn't get the clay particularly wet. So drip a little water on there. Get the wheel going kind of fast. And everything is based on centering the clay, getting yourself centered and the clay centered. If you're having a bad day, you may have trouble getting the clay in the middle. Have you experienced that? Yeah? Uh-huh. Okay. So elbows into your body, hands together, and a small piece of clay is fairly simple to center. The principle is you're just pushing on one side. You're not pushing on multiple sides. You'll see. So I'm going to put strength in my body, my hands, and push it into the middle. Hold really still, and then lift my hands up as I feel the clay moving. And you get this cone shape. Keep the clay wet. If you feel it's grabbing your hands a little bit, just throw a little more water on there. And then you need to bring it back down. So this part of your hand, and this is good for small pieces. I'll show you another way in a sec. Now you don't need to center the wheel head, it's already centered. The clay has grog in it, which is like fired clay. It's almost like sand. Some clays actually use sand. If you put your hands tight against the wheel head, you'll probably end up really making your skin really, really smooth. I had my fingerprints taken for a job once, and they couldn't get a print off of some of my fingers because of the friction from the clay. You don't need to do that. You just focus on the clay. So bring it down. Now, one of the things that's hard to remember, you're pushing pretty hard, and when you let go, if you let go quickly, oh, it feels like it's on center, it's going to be off center. So you have to approach it, kind of sneak up on it, put your hands on it, push, relax, and then let go slowly, and it stays on center, okay? This might take 3, 4, 5 times, you know. So you bring it up, and bring it down. Let me show you another way to bring it down. You can use this hand, your left hand as a pivot point, and you put your fingers on top of this hand, and the heel of your hand is going to be pushing that clay down. This is a way you can center much bigger pieces of clay. So you're just pushing that down, and the pressure is just on this side of the clay. Visualize like a wall that you can't go over. If you're pushing on both sides, you're going to be fighting yourself. Clay's coming around, let the wheel do the work. Just gradually. See how it bulged out a little bit? This left hand's going to stop that. I'm going to push down, push in, and hold still. once you have it centered, it shouldn't be wiggling around at all. It should just look like it's staying still. Look how fast the wheel is going. It's about, if you were driving 35 maybe, nice. Not freeway speed, and certainly not school zone. Just right about there. And you notice my foot's right off the pedal. The traditional wheels are kick wheels. I don't know, has anyone ever seen a kick wheel or used a kick wheel? They've got big flywheels, and you have to kick it with your leg. And the thing goes and goes and goes, and you just can't stop it easily, so you just try to make the pop while it's spinning around. And then you have to stop and kick it again to get it going fast again. You're really spoiled here. This is great. Okay, once it's on center, you want to make an opening. Different people make openings different ways. You can use your thumbs. You can use your fingertip. And I like to use my fingertip. Thumbs are limited. Good for small pieces because small thumbs. For larger pieces, you can only go down that deep. With this, you can dive in and make a great big pot. So I'd like you to learn using your left hand. Now, I'm not left-handed. Are there any left-handed people? Well, that's nice. Ambidextrous? You have to learn to be, huh?
I'm semi-ambidextrous.
Yeah. Well, what happens is, even if you're not left-handed, your right hand can guide it. You just use both your hands. So I'm going to find the middle with my middle finger and push in gently. Make a little hole. Yep, it's still on center. Push down. If you have trouble pushing, I'm pushing with my left hand too. My right hand, I'm helping it.
Pressure on my fingers.
Yeah, this is the finger that's doing it. As my ex-wife used to say, tall man. You've got pointer and tall man. So you go down. If you want a planter, you can go right down to the wheel head. You're not making planters, okay? You want to keep the bottom maybe half an inch thick, so you'll be able to trim a foot on it. How do you tell how thick it is down there? You can do it two ways. You can put your thumb, and this is the best way, and it takes time to develop that sense of touch. Thumb against the wheel head and your finger in the middle, and you can actually feel about how thick it is. If you're not sure, you can stop the wheel, take your needle tool, and poke it. Then you put your finger right down to where the clay is and pull it out, and that's about how thick the bottom is. If you do that, always make sure you kind of run the wheel and put your finger on top and heal that hole. I had a student who didn't do that and made it all the way through the glaze firing, and it leaked. That little tiny pinhole. Okay, I still have it on center. Notice I didn't go straight down. I went at a bit of an angle so it looks like a cone. You have more control that way. And you do it gradually, you just don't dig in. Next step is to make the bottom of the pot. So you thumb on the outside and close your hand. And again, it's that middle finger that's doing all the work. Keep it wet. And I'm just going to pull the clay right towards me. And since this is going to be a bowl, I'm going to... Now you see where my hand is. And this is a lot for you guys to absorb all at once.